Live from Town Square Towers at the heart of the Jersey Shore. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Get up, get out, do something. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. 7:08, 45 degrees, heading up to 58 today, Thursday, March 24th. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Streaming live on the Radio Pup app and on WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160 to join the conversation for the second time this week. I am super nervous during a segment because, first I had the principal of my son's high school. So I feel like if I say something wrong, there will be repercussions, for my kids. And now we have the Toms River Chief of Police, Chief Mitch Little, and Jillian Nardine Messina here with us talking about what's going on in the Toms River Police Department. And listen, I try to be a law-abiding citizen. It doesn't always 100% work out for me. But good morning. How are you?
Morning, Jeremy. How you doing? Thanks for having us.
Jillian, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's great. I'm excited to have you guys here. I'm excited to hear kind of what the what's new at the police department. What are we working on? What have you seen? First of all, how long have you been doing this now, Chief?
I just finished my 30th year on the job.
Wow.
And I'm just over 2 years as chief.
And so now you can just tell me nobody's listening. It's just us, really.
Sure.
Really. So 2 years. Are you still comfortable with the decision to do like the big gig? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I tell you, things like this actually made me the most nervous. I thought I was going to have a problem getting up in front and talking to people, and it's actually been part of the job that I like the best.
Yeah.
Because it gets me out there to meet the public and let everybody know kind of what we're doing. And that's what I think the most important thing is, that people know what our position is on certain things and what we're doing about it.
Right.
So this gives me the opportunity to do that. And I thank you for having me on here.
Absolutely. Well, the great news to that in that vein is here in Toms River, there's always something to do. There's always something going on. There's always something to talk about, right? We don't lack for things to take a stance on. So why don't you give me some examples of where what have you seen kind of evolve over the last couple of years since you've been doing this?
Well, a lot of things are statistically driven, and we kind of realized that we had to look at statistics. We had to look at where the crimes were happening, the types of things that were happening, and what was important at the time. So we had a big initiative in the beginning 2 years ago to really try to focus on where we were, where we need to go, what the big issues were at the time. And looking back, we know that traffic was a big issue around this town. We have 100,000 people, 45 square miles. We handle about 5,000 accidents a year.
Wow.
So that was huge. Another thing I saw that was very important was the drug issue, obviously heroin. And it seems to take up most of my time these days is the heroin issue, because it drives everything. It drives all our other property crimes and things like that. We don't have a lot of serious crime in town as far as robberies and murders and things like that, but we have a lot of property crime. And we're finding that, obviously, people are shoplifting and burglarizing vehicles and houses and using pawn shops to sell the stuff, to get cash, to get drugs. And heroin has gotten so cheap lately that it's taken up all our time. So I've had to allocate more resources to the drug problem than anything else, and I've actually have about 10 people that are dedicated to nothing but narcotics investigations.
Right.
I have two officers in the DEA, have FBI, one officer in the Ocean County Narcotics Strike Force, or SOG they call it now, and other officers in-house that do nothing but undercover work. So it takes up a lot of time, and they're doing an unbelievable job. We do have a fantastic department and great officers.
Well, I have to give you credit, and also give the county credit. I think we just our foundation. We've just been working with the county health department and Hope Sheds Light, the Monmouth Ocean Food Bank, the YMCA, caregivers, the People's Pantry, among others. We're working on getting this New Jersey Health Initiatives grant through Robert Wood Johnson. And it was great having that coalition built. And I'll tell you what was really exciting was having the county involved. And what I want to give credit for really is that, I think if you look 3 years ago, let's say, 3 years ago, I feel like we lived in a community that said we don't have these problems. I think that we were like, we don't have a drug problem. We don't have a homeless problem. We don't have any of these problems. We're good. We're good. And now I feel like we're out in front of it, and we're the first step is admitting it. Sure. And I feel like we're working to make it better day by day with great organizations and great folks on the front lines.
Sure, and being on a bunch of boards actually helps. Being on the board for CASA, being on the board for Human Services and everything else, it gets me informed, which is extremely important.
Right.
And it lets me see what the real problems are and what other organizations are going through. Ocean Mental Health, I'm on their board. I think I'm evaluated half of the time I'm there, but
no doubt.
But most of the time I walk out without a straitjacket on, so I'm okay.
Yeah,
but
Jim Cooney has had a few things to say about you. I wasn't supposed to share that, but yeah. Well, anyway, moving right along.
Yeah. So it is important. We try to do a lot of initiatives where we get back to the public. The coalition, nutrition is so important to us. That was one of the things I started at the police department. We hire police officers. We go through a medical exam. We go through a psychological, and we could go through 30 years of a career without ever having another physical again or another psychological or whatever. So there's a lot of programs in place that help us if we're having issues. But what I started was a voluntary physical fitness program, and that worked out perfectly with that coalition that you're involved with, where we can actually hopefully help and maybe lead by example. If the police department can recognize we need some help in taking care of ourselves, we'll do that. We belong to a foundation. Is the Captain Buscio Foundation, who was a fireman and actually died of a heart attack, and his wife put that together a fundraiser and was able to work with the insurance companies where we can actually go get checked by Deborah or other locations, and we've actually saved 3 officers' lives. We're literally weeks away from having a massive heart attack, and that was huge. And now we're doing a physical fitness program, so we try to get the officers to get checked, make sure they're physically able to exercise and do those kind of things, and then once we find out they're good, and then we have a physical fitness program, and I participate in that too. It's hard to have the officers go running around if I'm not going to do it too.
Man,
so
I'm feeling so out of shape today, Zach. Between the conversations we had about the track team earlier today, and now, oh my goodness, this is really Jillian's with me, so that's good. Okay, so
you're not alone.
We're figuring out where we're going for lunch. I don't know, you guys.
Me too.
You guys can run all you want. All right, listen. What I really want to talk about is, I think that you've also made some great efforts to. I want to say make the police force more accessible. It shouldn't be that you're scared of your local law enforcement. It should be that you feel like they're part of the community and they're your partners. I was going to say your partners in crime, but that doesn't really fit. It doesn't really fit in this particular circumstance. So one of the things that I know is a really great program. I know you guys have this camp. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about the camp?
That's great. Last year, Officer Pam Slavin, who works as a school resource officer in the intermediate school, she came to me and she had this great idea about having a youth camp. Brick Township had one,
right.
And she went and looked at that, and it was a great thing. And they bring kids in that are intermediate school age, good kids that have done well in school and are recognized as really good kids. And we do basically a youth police academy, and we bring them in for a week. We started it we advertised it a couple weeks before it kicked off last June. And we had 130 or 140 applicants. We could only take 40.
Wow.
So we have officers that donate some of their time and work out with these kids, and it's awesome to see our officers break these kids up into teams. They compete against things. They go and do kind of a mini version of what our police academy would be. They do exercises and marching drills and go out and take the police cars out, and we do emergency vehicle operation course out at Lakehurst where the officer drives them through a cone course. And they really get to see what my son actually participated in the first one. It was perfect that he turned out to be the right age to participate. And we're doing it again this year, and we're going to up it to 48 kids. We're going to start on July 15th, and our officers are so excited about this. They come up with the best ideas.
Right.
They're out there, and they see what the public needs. They want to be part of the public. We had an officer, Copen, who came up with Operation Brain Freeze, and that was just anytime he saw a kid with a bicycle helmet on and obeying traffic laws on his bicycle, we'd give him little coupons to go in and go get an ice cream in the local ice cream shop, and that went over huge. We had kids walking up to officers' doors at their houses, banging on their door with their helmet on, saying, "I want the ice cream cone."
Nice.
So it's little things like that, and again, it comes from the officers. They come up with fantastic ideas. They want to be as close to the public as the public wants to be close to them.
That's great. That's great. So when we get back, we're talking to Chief Mitch Little, and Jillian's here also. We're going to talk. We're going to get to you in a minute. We're going to talk about what kind of other outreach programs we have going on. I know we got some really exciting stuff, including some former NFL players getting involved. So we'll be back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin right after this.
The Sean Hannity Show, this afternoon at 3. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin returns next. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. We're here with Chief Mitch Little and Jillian Messina talking about what's happening with the Toms River Police Department. So we were talking about this pros versus heroes thing. Talk to me about this event that's coming up this summer.
Jeremy, this thing was awesome. I was approached by Darian Barnes 2 years ago when I first made chief. And he says, "Hey, listen, we want to do a benefit football game, get your guys involved, have your guys play against our guys, the pros." I was like, "Yeah, it sounds great." So we did it at High School North, and we only had a couple weeks to put it together, and we raised $600. So I was like, "Okay, we need to do this better."
Right.
So I ended up seeing Jillian on not Instagram,
LinkedIn.
I'm sorry, LinkedIn. I saw her on LinkedIn, and it said special events. I said, "Whoa!" I said, "So I didn't realize I knew Jillian from before." But I messaged her. I said, "Hey, could you help me out with this? Because we really need to bring this to the next level." So Jillian came in, and she did a lot of work with the Sandy effort and Restore the Shore and all that. So she had a lot of contacts. She had media contacts here, and she got me into this media circle, which was, I didn't want to say circus, circle. So it was fantastic. So she introduced me to a bunch of great people, and we got this thing kicked off. And bottom line is, with all the work that Darian Barnes did with all his people and Jillian, we raised about $18,000 in just a year. So this year is even better. And Jeremy, I have to thank you for your support on this effort. And this year is going to be bigger than ever. And what we're doing a little different this year is actually getting high school kids involved. Last year we had sponsor certain kids that we want to recognize in the community that had a tough time, and they played on our team, and they were awesome, and we got some people playing on the pro side. But this year we decided we wanted to get the schools involved, and we wanted our officers to work with the school kids. So we're getting the seniors on the football teams of each school. 2 seniors from each school are going to play each quarter on our team against the pros, so they get to play against pros, work out with our guys, and they're also going to help out with the Play 60 clinic with the NFL players. So they're going to help little kids actually learn football.
And so am I seeing here that Frankie Edgar is playing on the pros team?
He is possibly playing. If he doesn't have a fight coming up and he doesn't have a risk of getting injured, he's going to play. And if he doesn't play, he's going to be up on the boardwalk, hopefully signing autographs and supporting us. As far as I think Keith Elias might be coming
Keith
too.
Elias may be coming as well, yeah. I know Frankie, and he is such a Toms River guy, and he's such a family guy. And we called him. He said, "Yeah, I'm there. Whatever
I'm sure,
I can do."
I'm sure Todd Frazier would have been there if he wasn't playing. But
yeah.
So I'm sorry. So you said that I just lost it now. Who did you say is playing before Todd Frazier?
Keith Elias.
Keith Elias. He's playing for sure?
we asked him. We're
waiting.
We're
so
waiting.
We're hoping he's
Keith, if you hear us,
because that would be a bad look for not in all due respect. I'm just saying it'd be a bad look for our men in blue. You know what I'm saying?
So, well, I got to tell you,
we won last year.
We won. We actually won. Because the first year we played on High School North turf, and the pros were lightning fast, so fast.
So we got wise.
But we scored, I think, 3 touchdowns to their 5, which I was extremely impressed. We have our star quarterback is Ron Sermarini, who's a star at High School North.
Right.
And he's got a great team.
Awesome.
So now we play on sand,
now,
right? So it's the great equalizer.
It's
We're
perfect.
beach people. We
Our
got
guys,
this.
Yeah, that's good thinking.
Our guys are beach guys. They're barefoot, and they're running sometimes circles around the pro guys. They can't run in sand too good.
That is good thinking. Way to bring them down to our level.
Absolutely.
So really exciting event coming up. When we come back, we are going to talk about. We have softball, basketball. We have
open houses.
We have open house. There's so much to talk about. I think we may have to run the show till 10. We're gonna pass through preferred company today. We're not doing preferred company. Anyway, Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin here with Chief Mitch Little and Jillian Messina talking about all the cool stuff happening with the TRPD. Back after this.
The News is next. Live from the WOBM Newsroom, the Town Square, New Jersey News Network, and Fox News Radio. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. Got so much more to cover. We only have 8 minutes. This is we're going to have to roll through this. So, okay. So I know we have like 47 other sporting events coming up. So why don't you talk to us? What do we have?
Well, let me just wrap this up by saying that the Pros versus Heroes game, any basketball fundraisers we have, softball, most of this stuff goes to our police foundation. The police foundation was developed by Chief Messina at the time, over 10 years ago, and was the greatest things that we ever did. Trying to raise money for our police officers, for the kids of Toms River, where we give scholarships out every year to high school seniors that are pursuing a career in law enforcement. We give out scholarships to our own kids, anybody, family members that work for the police department, regardless of their career path. So we raise a lot of money, and it's a great thing. We do a basketball game. Last year we had one. It wasn't advertised a lot. We're going to pick it up this year, where we actually played against the Ambassadors, which was the Harlem Globetrotter training team or farm team. So we had a blast doing that. Our guys were out there, dancing around with these guys, actually making some baskets too, but we're having a lot of fun. And that's the major thing about these things. All these benefits, softball games we do, trying to raise money for our people and their community, to get the officers out there to interact with our community other than just in a police car, because normally people don't call us if they're having a nice day. So
Right.
we want to go out there and have a nice day with them. And we do all these events. And the foundation helps us do that. So one of the things we're doing every other year, we do an open house at headquarters. And this year it's on May 7th. So we want everybody to come out to our police headquarters and get to see all our stuff.
Right.
So our guys like to bring out their toys, the dive team, the SWAT team, and all those guys. They want to bring all their stuff out. They want to show everybody what we do. We want to interact with the public. And last year, 2 years ago, we did it, and we had over 1,000 people show up.
Wow!
So it was amazing. We had a barbecue going on, and this year we're doing a campus open house. So we're involving the animal shelter can open up. The youth center, which is right across the field, the soccer field. So it's going to be a big campus event. We want everybody to come out and meet us, and so we can meet them. We're going to have motorcycle demonstrations, canine demonstrations, and just a lot of fun for the day.
Now, are you going to show off like that communication center? 'Cause
Absolutely.
That is like walking through that communication center. It was like it was like being at the joint base and looking at mission, at air traffic control at the joint base.
We do private tours. We have a lot of Cub Scout tours and youth groups and stuff that come through, and a little more organized and quiet. With an open house, it's kind of tough because obviously
Right.
it's a working
Sure.
room. So we have to be a little careful with that. But most of it's going to be outside. We do have retired officers coming back, and they get their new IDs, and they qualify with their weapons and stuff. And we start a Veteran Officers Association also.
So you're saying my 11-year-old can't take a few calls and maybe
Well, you know what?
I'm just saying.
We can make an exception.
I'm just
So we can bring 'em
I'm
in.
offering. I mean, she's cheap labor. Is what it comes down to. Yeah.
That's
anyway,
great.
That's how we use
They
it.
support our Explorer program. We have the Scouts. They're fantastic. So we do a lot of good stuff.
All right. What else? So we have this open house, right? My goodness, I don't even know where to start. There's so many things going on. Where could folks learn more? Like all these programs you're talking about, all these fundraising efforts, et cetera. Like what does the communication look like in that regard?
Right now, our police department website is probably the best place to go, and we try to constantly update Facebook also.
Okay.
So it's Toms River Police Department on Facebook, and it's trpolice.org is our website. So anybody can go in there, and we're constantly trying to update that, and it's a work in progress. I got to tell you, there's so much stuff going on just with day-to-day crime summaries that Ralph Stocco, our community affairs person, tries to keep on top of. There's so many things going on there, trying to let the public know what's going on and help us out with things. The website's been fantastic. Facebook has been fantastic, and we have had so many hits and helps from the public to solve some of these crimes. It's amazing. That takes up a lot of our time.
Right.
But we are trying to get all these positive campaign type things out there, and that's what we like to do. Jillian and I were talking about this. We are so tired of hearing all the negative, where there's a very small percentage of people doing things bad. We have 100,000 people in this town. We have 19,000 students, a bunch of fantastic teachers and administrators in the schools. We work so closely with the school that we want to let everybody know all the great things that everybody's doing, our officers and the kids and everything else. And unfortunately, sometimes we only hear about the bad stuff. And it might be 1/10% of what's really going on.
Listen, I agree with you. By the way, it could be worse. In our town, you're not driving down the street and seeing a skull on the side of the road.
Exactly
right.
That
just doesn't happen here in Toms River. Right? I mean, I'm not trying to throw stones at our neighbors in Bricktown or anything, but I'm just saying that doesn't happen. Now, the biggest thing I've taken away so far today, I mean, maybe this is why I didn't do so well in school. I don't know how many of our listeners knew that the Globetrotters had a farm team.
Right.
I'm just saying,
Let me tell you, it was fun.
Zach, did you know the Globetrotters had a farm team?
I had no
idea. Like a
idea.
B team?
No, I did not.
Like they're not quite Globetrotters?
Nope.
I tell you what, looking at them, they look like Globetrotters to me.
Really?
They were fast.
Yeah,
they were good.
They don't do the whole globe. They just they do like
hemisphere.
They're the domestic trotters.
Exactly.
Right? That's what they should be. All right.
Exactly.
Good stuff. So look, what we really have learned is we've learned that there's a ton of community outreach coming from the Toms River Police Department. And in all seriousness, look, we have one of the safest large towns in New Jersey. We know that we have our problems, but I think that you could feel confident that when you need help, that help is there. I have been so fortunate over the last couple of years to meet so many great officers here in our town, and I know that I definitely rest my head on my pillow every night. That's my pillow, MY pillow. I rest my head on my pillow every night, super comfortably, knowing that you guys got it on lockdown for us. So I just want to thank you so much for your time today, Chief Little. And Jillian, I think we have a new title for you now. So what did we come up with?
I don't even know. We went back and forth.
You're like our outreach and volunteer coordinator.
Yeah,
right?
you know what, Jeremy? I swear, I want to get her hired because she does so much volunteer work and helps so much. She brought. I have to say, she actually brought the police department to a different level as far as this positive campaign.
Right.
Because she is so positive. And getting me to understand how important it is to reach out to the public and do these special events.
Mitch, just you and me talking for a second. I mean, just the overwhelming positivity. It doesn't get a little overwhelming at times. I'm just
I'll
saying.
never admit that. No.
Okay, good. We'll talk offline.
I put my earmuffs on. No, I put my earmuffs on. It's good. I only hear good.
Chief Mitch Little, Jillian Messina, doing great work for the Toms River Police Department. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us this morning.
Thank you, Jeremy.
And,
appreciate it.
Hopefully, I won't see you. Unless it's like at an event and we're shaking hands and you're in a suit. That's the only way I like to see you guys,
absolutely.
all right? All right, we'll be right back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin after this.